Hi Noofs, how's it going? We have another video. This one is also from IEM Katowice. It's from the round of 6 winners bracket. In the bottom left is the blue Terran from Korea. His name is Ryung. And in the top right is the red Terran, also from Korea. His name is TY. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, especially after how great our feedback was.
Good segue. Yeah, we made sure. Yeah, the people were way more kind than they had to be, which is an admirable quality which I wish I possessed.
Yeah,
I'm exactly as kind as I have to be at any given time.
this is our first video since we posted the original
Yes.
thread on Reddit and the 3 follow-up ones. So yeah, thank you to everybody who gave feedback, support, and everything.
Yeah, people have just been really, really nice, and they've been commenting really nice things, and it warms what is usually a frosty, bitter area of my heart, and so I enjoy it quite a bit. Anyways, we are going to do in this session 3 different series. That doesn't matter to you guys, but it matters a lot to us. So the next video that you'll be getting is going to be Linok versus True, also from Katowice, and then the third one is another one from Katowice, and that one is going to be one sec. Cyril and Night End. So the idea is that we're going to get a TvT here, we're going to get a ZVZ next, and then we'll cover all of the possible race matchups. Is that true?
Yep.
Maybe. Okay. I'll trust you there. And somebody please leave a very kind comment informing us if we're wrong about it. And then we will just do a PvZ at the end. And it'll be fun for everyone, hopefully. So just describing what is happening on screen.
Yep.
We've got this command center coming from TY, and Ryung has
Got an early factory here.
yes.
So he took a fast second gas. He has 2 on each of the gases, so not as much gas as he could be getting. So sometimes when Terran gets 2 geysers very quickly, and they put 3 on each, and they're going to do like a fast 1 base double cyclone thing. But with only the 2 here, yeah, we're just going to see the Hellion and probably a starport. No, okay, we're going to see the command center, and then I would guess a starport, but unfortunately neither of us are experts on Terran, so we're going to have to see exactly how this goes.
Hey, don't give it away. They don't need to know that. Nobody needs to know that.
They'll figure out by the end of this.
Yeah, that's probably true. Become very obvious very quickly.
But so now we have both players getting their cyclones. The earlier expansion for TY is going to be nice economically, as he adds up his reactored Marines. And now we see the starport on the tech lab from Ryung, so it looks like there may be a Banshee opening, or possibly a Raven. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the way that the builds have broken down so far, TY's just been very, very slightly more greedy, which is usually a good thing. But when you throw something wonky like, I don't know, maybe a cloaked Banshee into the mix, then you can start to even things up really, really quickly, especially because it's only going to be a lead of, I don't know, 2 or 3 workers. Mm-hmm. It looks like we're about to get some Cyclone on Cyclone action in the middle here. Always an odd moment when Cyclones run into the middle of each other because, unlike Stalkers, for instance, they pretty much start shooting at the exact same time, so it's kind of a suicide pact when they start going.
Yeah, so we do.
And so they both end up turning around.
We do see the Banshee and the Cloak coming out here from Ryung, and also getting a tech lab on the factory to start making those siege tanks, which will be good defensively along with the Marines. So it looks like Ryung's going to try and get a bit of damage in with his fast tech on the Cloak Banshee. But we actually also see a Raven coming out from TY, so if he keeps that at home, then that'll help him a lot dealing with the Banshees, since the Raven's detection counters the fast Cloak from Ryung.
Yeah, the Raven lines up pretty well. He's actually getting a 3rd command center too. Wow, this is almost economic cheese considering what he's going to be going up against from Ryung, who just finished his 2nd command center. The Raven, of course, he'll get a nice scout in, and we'll see generally what's happening there. He'll see there's not a whole lot of gas invested there, so he should know that there's something else wonky happening. Hopefully he doesn't waste a scam.
He sees the siege tank, but doesn't get into the main. We do actually see a 3rd CC from Ryung also, but not a lot of vision here from TY when he decides to go for that command center. So maybe he saw something that we didn't, or he just wants to be a little bit greedy here. Doesn't think that Ryung is going to make a big push early on. But with the Banshee commitments instead, I think this third command center is really going to pay off, as that Banshee doesn't do any damage.
The Banshee got turned around immediately. The Raven was exactly what he needed, and so now Ryung just has this random Banshee. I guess if TY were to move out with the Raven, the Banshee could come in and be annoying, but otherwise it's kind of a waste. He invested a lot into not just the Banshee, but the Cloak, and then you got absolutely nothing done with it at all.
Yeah, so now we see TY also going with a fast, some engineering bays somewhere. Yes, behind the Nashville, we see the double engineering bays and starting the double upgrades already. This Banshee coming in and doing a little bit of damage, going to force TY to come and defend the siege tank. But these early upgrades are going to be really helpful, as we see Ryung is only now finishing his own engineering base. I think there are two.
Yeah, he's got two.
So he's a little bit behind, but actually it's not that big of a difference. So there won't be too big of a window for TY to have that upgrade advantage. But of course, upgrades, because of how fast Marines fire, upgrades giving that +1 damage on the attack or -1 damage from armor are super important in Marine versus Marine fights, which is what we're going to have here, as both players are going for Marine tank-based compositions.
Yeah, if Ryung pushes out, he might just get really unlucky and then hit this terrible, terrible timing of what looks to be about 10 seconds, where his entire army will just melt instantly. It looks like because TY didn't go for the early factory and the Cloaked Banshee and everything, he's about 10 seconds ahead of Ryung. He's got 8 war workers. Otherwise, they're pretty darn even. Ryung is just establishing the third right now. He's very, very slightly behind on upgrades. Both building Marines, both building tanks, both building 2 barracks, almost mirrored builds.
We see about a 10 Marine lead here for TY, although he's down 1 tank. And the 2 Banshees flying around the middle of the map now are going to have to try and get some amount of damage in the future. There are good missile turret coverage, at least in the third and the natural, although it doesn't look like there's one in the main. Oh no, there is one over here. 2 idle SCVs actually just kind of not doing anything. But
yeah, he's another one at the third. TY's pushing out though, and it looks like they're going to start jockeying for position. Ooh, a stim already. Oh my gosh, he's going to catch so many Marines. Oh, that is, I don't know. How many Marines, Ben? 10?
A lot of
15 Marines just evaporate? Oh, the Raven goes down on the tank. So he's going to force this third command center to lift up, probably. Unless... No, there's no way Ryung can deny that, right? Oh, is he just going to sack the command center? I guess he needs to position. He's moving in with the tanks now, starting to siege up. Looks like he's going to clear out these tanks from TY, and TY's actually going to have to go home. Ryung saves the third command center, loses a handful of SCVs, but I think that's a trade he'll take. The army supply is evened up. The upgrade window is gone. Oh, he's going to catch a medevac too. So Ryung, what happened there basically, it looked like TY had pounced on enough Marines, so he started to get really aggressive, but Ryung managed to siege up. He had a slight tank advantage and managed to win the fight, hold off TY, and pretty much even up this game.
Yeah, and actually for a moment there, when right as Ryung unsieged and started to push in to try and break the siege of TY's siege tanks were actually fighting, or rather firing at the command center instead of at the siege tanks. And that caused him to miss a lot of damage, but I think might have made the difference in why he actually lost that fight there.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, he's still being annoying. He's got a 10 worker lead, which is not game ending, but definitely game changing. And now we siege up on this third, so Ryung has to abandon it. You can even look at the mineral collection rate just to see what effect that has, because the third is one of the 2 higher mining bases for both players. Oh my gosh, the flank of the Marines. He's going to catch all of these Marines. That medevac. Oh, is the medevac toast? No, it looks like it's actually going to get away with the tank in it. That's pretty big. But Ryung might have a bit of a window here to do something. I guess the armies are relatively even anyways, just because TY has an economic lead. But Ryung has managed to fight TY off, and this game should stabilize from here, I guess, as long as TY's drop here doesn't do critical damage.
Yeah, with the big economic advantage from TY, even though he did take some bad trades there, he can afford that. We see actually the 4th base about half done, and there is no 4th command center for Ryung at this point, so that could serve to even further compound the lead that TY has economically. At this point you can see the tank count, though, still 1 up for Ryung. So that is sort of what's helping him to hold on, because those tanks obviously are so good defensively. And now he actually is going to start to move out. Now, sort of pushing that Marine off the watchtower, and is going to push towards the 4th of TY as a drop actually comes in the main.
Yeah, it looks like TY's going to barely win that and still be annoying. Also, worth mentioning is that the upgrade advantage window has grown for TY. It looks like, just eyeballing it, it might be another 30 seconds where he's going to have 2-2, and Ryung's going to be stuck on 2-1. I'm not sure Ryung can get anything done here. The tanks are siege, and he's down upgrades. He'll poke in, I guess he'll grab that.
Yeah.
And maybe even force the fourth to lift. But he should be able to be rebuffed. You can see that TY just has a 15 worker lead. He's actually killing more workers, I think at the third of Ryung, just being really, really annoying all over the map, making sure that Ryung doesn't gain an economic foothold that he needs to get back into this game. Meanwhile, there's a little Marine flank here. Does he have the power to do this? No, the siege tanks are all sieged up, right? There's no way he can fight this. He's going to end up losing the upgrade advantage soon, I guess. Yeah, here comes the infantry weapons too. Looks like the vehicle weapons are coming in about the same time. Also, the air advantage for TY is really important here because you see Ryung has to use scans like that to try to make sure that he doesn't just straight up lose his tanks in a positional battle. But the Vikings, looks like there's nothing in the air that shoots up for Ryung except for the Marines. So the Vikings are going to give him vision and make sure that he can hold the position.
As the big engagement happens now, with a bunch of Marines coming in, the upgrades are even now, and the siege tanks start to siege up from TY, but there's sort of a position here. But at this point, TY has advanced the siege tank position from the previously dangerous position up here, but now has siege tanks much further out from the third, or from the fourth rather, that's going to prevent Ryung's army from pushing up onto this high ground. At the same
There's
time,
also a drop at the natural. Killing a bunch of workers, still being annoying. Oh my gosh, when you are aim moving SCVs into Marines, it gets really rough. Look at that worker advantage. So TY started with about a 10 worker lead, but because he's been so relentless with the drops, he's been able to hold here with Defender's advantage, some Liberators, and the Viking advantage. He's ballooned that economic advantage, and now that he's up a base, he's got a planetary there. That's really nice. He's up a base, he's up 30 workers. Ryung has to get something done quickly, or he's going to end up just getting outpaced in this game real fast. He'll grab one tank, that's nice. But it looks like the Liberator's going to be able to siege up. TY just has such a large air advantage. Now he's going to pounce. The fight starts. Ryung's tanks are all completely unsieged. They finally siege up, and it looks like he's going to beat back TY for now, but you can see that the army supply for TY is still larger. Oh my gosh, he's unsieging? That... TY is going to chase him home. It looks like he's going to grab this one tank. Two tanks. There's one tank left. Is he going to be able to win this fight with just Marines? It looks like he is. The tank is just shooting individual Marines, and the Marines are going to pounce. It looks like TY is going to take this game. Ryung, I guess, will flank the third to try to do some important economic damage. I'm surprised there isn't at least one tank siege back here. But TY is going to cover it. I'm not sure what the path to victory would look like for Ryung at this point.
Yeah, being so far down, 30 SCVs for a long time, and especially the tech disadvantage as we see the Viking Liberator for TY, which is very strong against siege tanks because the Vikings get air control, and then using the air control, the Liberators can siege up and force the siege tanks to retreat. At the same time, we see 3-3 finishing now for TY, which is going to give him a big advantage for the next 30 seconds or so until Ryung's finishes, as we see the army of Ryung out in the map, just very small, and then about, another small army towards the south of the map. Siege tank sieging up as TY actually is going to start to stim in, but now is going to try to use that Liberator, which is just going to guide him in. That is so many siege tanks for TY.
Yeah, Ryung actually has a really good flank here, so he's going to take a really nice trade because all the Marines got cleared out, and now it's just straight tank. So Ryung looks like he's going to kill a lot of the army, but he's just so far behind, almost not even half TY's supply. GG, TY takes game number 1.
So we're loading up now into Game 2 on Neon Violet Square, with TY up 1-0 after the last game. And last game, we sort of saw TY just take a big economic advantage the entire game. And there were a few bad trades attacking into Ryung's third, but overall we just saw that economic advantage from TY compound itself to the point where he spent a significant amount of the end of the game up about 30 SCVs, getting up to 75 workers on his own, and killing a bunch with drops. And that allowed him to get a much better army with Vikings and Liberators in addition to just the Marines and tanks. And at that point, he was just able to wear down Ryung until his army was so superior that despite Ryung's actually very good engagements, I think, throughout that game with Marine flanks and such, there was ultimately not much he could do against the larger economy of TY.
Yeah, that last flank that he had at the end of the game looked like it would have been great if he wasn't just down like 80 supply.
So,
but
last time we were on this map, with Classic versus Trap, we attempted to
Yes.
count the number of squares, and we think that we may not have done it totally correctly. So, as we see Ryung scout across the map, we're going to do some scouting of our own with regards to square numbers.
Yeah,
And
a bit of
sort
a
this
mea
out.
culpa here. A bit of a mea culpa here because we both have considered ourselves good at math, air quotes, for quite a bit of our lives. But I guess once the lights shine bright, some people crumble under the pressure, and we crumbled under the pressure. So we're back and we're ready to make amends.
So let's sort this out. So we have 6 here, 6 times
Yes.
4, and 7 times 3. So that's
which is 45.
Yeah.
So I think our count on that one was good.
Yeah,
It
there's
was the
another
middle
45
one.
here. The middle one here, we have 4
we started out
fours.
so well.
Yeah, 4 fours and 3 fives comes out to 31. Not 35 as we thought last time.
Yes.
And so in total that makes 121 neon violet squares,
Yes.
which in maybe even not a coincidence is in fact a square number.
And I also would like to mention that it's 11 squared, which I don't... Listen, I'm an English major, maybe I read into things too much, but this is a 1v1 game, and Neon Violet Square has the 1-1 number squared amount of squares. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think that that is incredibly clever of the map designers.
Do you think
and
the
I
map
that
was
we're all
made by the
better for it.
Illuminati?
I think that the map was made... I don't want to comment about the specific origin of the map. I don't want to say anything that would be out of line, but I would like to applaud whoever created the map. Not so much for the design of the map, although it is very good, but mostly for the fact that they made it a 1-1 squared amount of neon violet squares.
Oh, look at these. Are these actual mirrors? Or what's going on here? See these things?
What would they be mirroring?
The ground? I don't know. Maybe not. What is I don't know. Anyway, there's a proxy going on over here. Proxy starport from TY. Let's get some production
can
tabs.
Yes. There's this... Importantly, there's a proxy starport from TY, and he's also building Hellions, so I think we'll probably see a medevac come
This
out here. And drop
Reaper
some Hellions
could come
somewhere.
over here as it starts to go out on the map. And if it did, that would be really nice for Ryung, letting him know about this proxy liberator that's coming in. Oh, this Reaper. Oh, the Hellions get there. Okay. So the Hellions of TY actually able to push back the Reaper and stop them from scouting this Hellion. Meanwhile, we see the starport from Ryung about to finish a tech lab there. Do we see a Cyclone? There's, okay, 1 Cyclone and 5 Marines. So that should be able to stop the Liberator, but the issue is that they have to simultaneously stop this run-in with 4 Hellions and a Reaper. That's a lot to do for just that many units.
Yeah, the good thing is that Ryung is aware of the Hellions and the Reapers, so he should split
That's
his army with that in
smart.
mind.
He's feeling a little suspicious, and he actually scans and sees that there's no starport. So at this point, he should have a pretty good idea of what's going on, given that the starport isn't in the main, and there's nothing else there, so clearly there has to be something somewhere. Oh, the Hellion's actually running in.
Yeah, there's a Raven building also, so I think that he's really suspicious. So he's got 4 workers down at the third, now 5. Liberators start up in the main. Oh, he's forcing the whole mineral line to stop mining. That's obnoxious. This at what point does this become worth it? He's up workers. There's a third base building for Ryung, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's not going to be building for very long, unfortunately.
Yeah, and TY's got his own third base as well.
Yeah, you can see in the conveniently present idle time in this replay was about 200 or so minerals lost just from denying mining time with that Liberator, in addition to the kills that it got itself. So 8 workers, you can see TY already up 9 workers now. And after last game, we saw what TY could do with an economic lead. So we have to wonder if Ryung is actually going to be able to come back from this, because actually his third CC isn't even faster than TY's, who is almost done with his. So this could potentially end up looking a lot like the last game.
Is TY's Liberator still kind of nudged in the upper left-hand corner? Looks like it disappeared.
Yeah, it looks like it died.
Okay.
So
that would have
yeah.
been super annoying for
there
Ryung.
were some Marines over here that cleaned that up.
Mm-hmm.
And the starport flying back. It is going to delay his Stargate units by a lot, and perhaps, based on that, is why TY is deciding to go for mech here, where you don't need those starport units as fast as if you want to go bio and you need to get that medevac count up, whereas Ryung is going for the bio play again. So going mech with an economic advantage can be very difficult for the bio player, because normally, as the bio player, you really want to you're not going to be able to take as efficient trades, so you want to have superior economy because of the superior mobility of your army that lets you defend more bases, and use that to make up for the lack of efficiency there.
Yep, absolutely. Also worth noting that once again, TY has weaseled his way to a 10-worker lead, so they're on even bases, but TY's economy is better. Again, you can see that in the mineral resource collection rates. Oh my gosh, that cyclone. He'll be able to get it home.
Oh, these Hellions, actually.
Oh, no, he's not going to
but
be able to get it home.
He turns them into Hellbats. He should have left them as Hellions and just blocked it. Now that the Hellions are coming back, as he realizes. Okay. It does survive, but that was kind of an odd play by TY. But, well, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, I guess the Reaper was all he really needed to block, but curious move.
So let's see. We've got this +1/+1 now somewhere. What is with TY and not rallying his units back after building missile turrets? That seems to be sort of common theme with his.
Yeah, I wonder what the deal is. It's another one of those things that probably doesn't matter, but I guess he's effectively up 6 workers now.
Yeah, you can
see. The idle time slowly.
Yep.
Slowly. Although Ryung's also got some idle workers somewhere. That's funny.
Let's see.
I guess they are mortal.
Yes. Where are his? I don't know. He's gotten his back on, but this SCV is still here. Oh, it's changed though. Now it's turned this way.
Does idle time count if the workers are running?
I don't think so. I think it only counts when the worker is sitting doing nothing.
Okay, yeah.
It definitely doesn't count if the worker's building things. I don't know about when it's on hold position, because if you put your workers on hold position, they don't come up as idle, which is very annoying if you happen to hold position in a mineral line and don't notice. Okay, so we do see this big push coming out here with some Marines and tanks and a Raven. The Raven also being very important because of its ability to interference, whatever that's called now, the siege tanks and shut them down. So we're going to have to see if TY is going to have enough with his significantly 20 supply up mech army to hold this off. It seems like he should have a good chance.
Yeah, he just Ryung has to get that big black fuzzy ball down from the Raven pretty much. Oh man, he's turning around. This is tough because he's down a base. He does actually probably have to either expand or do damage, and he hasn't even started a 4th command center, while that planetary fortress of the 4th for TY is all finished, and he can start mining from it immediately. They're both at the amount of workers where it matters at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus mules.
Okay, so...
Oh, finally, he's going over. Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be good, but down 20 supply, without this superior economy that you really want. Ideally, you'd want to be up a base as a bio-Terran going against mech. I also want to mention, I'm really impressed with TY's Hellions. He's had these 2 Hellions just sitting out on the map for ages, just getting little bits of scouting information here and there about the movements of the army. It really helps him get an idea of where Ryung is going to attack, which is important because, as the mech player, obviously, his army is less mobile. And so you really want to have an idea of where the bio player is going to attack into you so that you can have your army in the right place.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of one of those adaptations. By the way, another idle SCV in TY's base. Looks like he might have actually just caught it. It was by the turret.
Okay.
It's one of those adaptations that you get when the players start getting better at the game as time goes on. I guess the game just becomes less deathbally, and you end up being able to do things like Scouter Hellions. Anyways, Ryung has this army that has been kind of almost idling outside of TY's base. Meanwhile, TY's got a medevac loaded up.
And look at this. TY actually going for the... Okay,
Ryung.
Ezra... Sorry, Ryung. Why don't you tell our audience which upgrade this is?
It's the red triangle.
Yep.
Upgrade. Ben, why don't you tell the audience what upgrade that is?
That's the I believe it's called the Corvid reactor, the Raven energy upgrade, and you can see.
Is
TY.
it actually?
Yeah. See, he's building these Ravens. He's got 2 starports building Ravens as he drops Hellions in the main to push them back.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That's impressive. That's amazing. So the drop on the Hellbats is happening in the main and the natural, but at the same time, there's this positional battle. It's one of those cool things where players really have to split attention. A stim just for Alien. That is, Ryung will not be happy about that trade. You see that there's this medevac that's joined the army, filled up with 2 fire bats, I think, and he, I guess he'll drop that onto the army in the middle of the fight. I don't really know what the plan is there. It also might be a mistake. Meanwhile, this drop comes in. He's going to kill, I don't know, 4 or 5 workers. Looks like it'll be 4. another one of those annoying things. The worker count is pretty even, though. Also, important to note, both players have actually started their 5th. They've chosen different places for it. TY is grabbing the 3rd, while Ryung is going for the... TY is grabbing the gold, sorry, not the 3rd. While Ryung is going for the one with more middle patches, but slightly less valuable ones. Some more workers died off screen. I have no idea where that happened. Probably the continuation of the drop, maybe back at that pocket expansion would be my guess.
Oh, oh, here, yeah, this medevac.
Yeah.
Hard to keep track of all of these drops from TY. He's really doing a lot of multitasking, despite being known as more of a late game unit control player. Good to see. Oh, actually, big fight starting over here.
Yeah, so Ryung is jockeying for position again. It looks like he went in and sniped. What did he snipe? Fire bats? I don't know. Might have been cyclones. These 2 cyclones have walked all the way across the map, and they're going to start attacking SCVs, I guess, at this 4th location. This is kind of a wacky game. Both players are all over the place. TY looks like he's out multitasking Ryung, but he also hasn't actually done that much damage with it. He's just been much more active on the map. Ryung's kind of been idling with this army just outside TY's doorstep for 3 or 4 minutes, and it hasn't actually done anything with it.
We do see, though, look at this army position. We have army up here, over here, down here. So if TY pushes out here, he could get totally surrounded. And actually, it looks like some anti-armor missiles coming down onto the Vikings of TY, doing a little bit of damage and turning them all orange. But actually, the Vikings are going to get their revenge on that Raven, killing a full energy Raven. That hurts. Oh, ooh, that's so bad. The huge amount of bio just walking into siege tanks. And that's just gone. That's like 20 supply there. That really hurts.
Yeah, I wonder if you expected to find them on siege. Oh my gosh, and a medevac is caught, so some unfavorable trades going down for both players. I think TY will probably be happy with the last 15 seconds of the game. I wonder if Ryung expected TY to have unsieged to be moving across the map, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to bring everything.
Even then, he wasn't actually attacking in with enough army to kill the even unsieged army of TY, so yeah. I don't really know what was going on there. It just seems like maybe Ryung lost control of his units or something, accidentally moved. Who knows? But now actually he's got his positional advantage on the gold base here. So this is going to be very hard for TY to save. I guess he can lift it up. There's only like 10 Marines. So he might be able to keep it alive. But
yeah, but at the very least it won't be able to mine for a while.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Ryung has actually established his 5th base, it looks like, and he's building a 6th as well at the same time. TY's pushing out. He's got, wow, that's a lot of tanks, and 2 Thors in that army. Meanwhile, Ryung is on basically all bio. He's losing workers somewhere. Ryung, I have no idea where that's happening. I think that might be at the 3rd. Some more idle time there for Ryung. 15 workers is pretty big, though. Oh, I see.
Huh. It's been very hard to keep track of Ryung's worker losses this game. Sorry to viewers who haven't seen all of the worker kills going down. You see the Vikings poking at these Ravens and just barely not killing 2 of them. As these siege tanks are going to start to push into Ryung's base here that still has a Liberator over it, and actually a big counterattack from Ryung with a bunch of Marauders and Marines. So this is going to go into a weird base trade situation, which you have to think favors the bio player.
It could, but I also wonder what TY has back home to defend, because Ryung isn't pouncing, so I have to assume that he's seen that he can't actually attack into that. Meanwhile, TY's attack is continuing. Oh my gosh, the Ravens hit everything. Ryung's pushing through. It looks like he's going to get a decent amount of these tanks, but I don't know, 7 or 8 are still there. Ryung can't flank from the back, and TY is still just shoving straight into Ryung's base. He's going to be able to leapfrog these tanks up here, start killing barracks, start interrupting mining. Oh, the Ravens are going down! Oh, that is brutal! TY's taking a huge lead here. It looks like some medevacs have just basically sacrificed themselves for a few tanks. Ryung is probably going to be able to outflank this and finally kill it, but if you just look at the supply right now, Ryung is under 100, while TY is just kept on churning, because TY managed to cancel those bases from Ryung.
A lot of scans going down here. Okay, those are some GG scans.
GG. TY takes game number 2 and wins 2-0 against Ryung.
Yeah, pretty impressive. TY just looked overall like a better macro player here, I would say, don't you think?
Yeah, he was all over the map, especially in that second game.
Yeah, that too. It was really impressive. Yeah.
So, anyways, we are going to be posting 2 more videos soon enough. There's a video on the screen right now that you can go ahead and click. There might even be 2. I don't know. We'll make some decisions. We'll shake it up. We'll see how it looks. And then you'll find out probably about 10 seconds ago. Please like and subscribe if you liked this, and if you want to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.